Welcome back to K Chat with me, your host, Kayla Morales. We chat all things from love to business to spirituality, health and wellness, and everything in between. This is a space of growth, understanding, and meaningful connection. And I'm so excited to share this episode with you all. So let's get to chatting. Today's guests are a multi-talented power couple, whether it be modeling, jumping out of planes, or traveling the world and creating beautiful images for all of us to swoon over. These two are constantly creating opportunities for themselves to live the best adventure. I'm so excited to welcome and share this space with Slater, Trout, and Stacie, Elmer. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Kayla.
Thanks
Thank you.
for having us.
Of course. I'm happy to have you both. And
As
I'm happy
soon as
to
you
dive
reached
in.
out for this, I was like, heck yes, we're so stoked. We want to do
We've
it.
actually never done a podcast
Yes.
together, so
You haven't? Awesome.
You're our very
Yay.
first. You're our
Yeah,
very
We're
first.
making first.
yeah.
That's great. Do you guys want to let's just jump into it, right? And so Slater is a friend of mine and he just recently got engaged to Stacie, but I want to go back. I want to know how you two met and I want to hear the engagement story.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
It
with
all happened very quickly. So last October, I guess, or no, let's go to September.
I guess I should start because
he
I'm the one who
should.
found you.
Yeah, he's gonna explain the story.
Let me start
Okay.
from there because I'm the one that kind of reached out and found her. So
Yeah.
how it all worked, to kind of keep it quick, because I can ramble on for like 3 hours about
He
this.
likes to ramble.
Aw.
So every year I do a surf trip with my good friends, usually end of the summer to like end a great summer of traveling. And so last summer, September or fall of 2019, we went to the Mentawais, which is a small island chain off the coast of Indonesia, on a 2-week surf trip. And I was with 2 twin brothers, Chris and Caleb, who are good friends of mine. And we were out there, and those guys have all been in really long relationships. And I was single. I'd been single at the time for like a year and a half. And I was just focusing on myself. And I was like, I don't need a girlfriend. I'm just in a good place right now. I'm focused on my career, my fitness, everything. And like by day 4, they were just hounding me, like, you got to find a girl, man. Like, we're going to find you. I'm like, no, I don't. So finally, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, okay. I was like, here's what we're going to do. I was like, all of you right now, we're eating dinner. I was like, go on your phone and pull up the most beautiful girl you follow on Instagram. I was like, I don't care who it is. I will follow them and DM them and let's see what happens. And so they're like, okay. So Caleb, one of the twin brothers, was like, hold my beer. He's like, it within like 3 seconds on his phone had this profile up, and it was this gorgeous model, and her name was Stacie Elmer. And instantly I was just like, oh my goodness.
So funny that he followed me.
I know.
I
was like, this girl's gorgeous. I was like, okay, she's for sure has to be wifed up or have a boyfriend or something. He's like, dude, I've been following her for 5 years because she's a twin and he was a twin. So he follows like all these like good looking twin accounts.
Amazing.
And so he's like, dude, she's not posting about any guys or anything. I think you're in the clear. He's like, just follow her and send her DM. So I was like, all right, that's my promise. Like I followed her, sent her a message. And then like,
what did it say? I'm curious.
Okay. So normally I like, when I get DMs from guys, I kind of look it over and I'm like, okay, no, like they're usually super typical. Like, you're beautiful. You're really pretty. I'd love to take you out sometime. I'm like,
yeah,
so unoriginal. But he like just seemed genuine. Like he was just like, hey, like you seem like a rad human. Like if you're ever in LA, like I'd love to take you out. It was just, or I'd love to meet you or something like that. It was like way more chill. It was like, he didn't say anything about my appearance. He didn't say like,
nice.
oh, people or anything like that.
I had a very strategic approach to it. Like because I like first thing first, like I would put myself in her shoes. So I'm like, okay, I'm Stacie. I'm sitting at home on the couch. I'm getting all these DMs from these guys. Like what does she get on the daily? Probably, oh, you're so sexy, you're so beautiful, oh, you're so hot, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to approach it from a way of, obviously I think she's gorgeous, but I'm not gonna bring any physicality into it. I'm just gonna like, because you look at her profile and she's adventurous and travels, and her caption, she's super smart and like thought out, and I'm like, you know, she seems like a really cool person, really rad human. So I was like, let me just touch on that. And so I DM'd her and I was like, hey, you just seem like a really awesome person. If you're ever in LA or California, I'd love to take you on a date. And just like simple like that.
He waited for me to follow him back before DMing me though. So he followed me, and then like I think it was like 20 minutes later, I saw him pop up on my thing, and I thought his name was cool. I was like, Slater Trout. And, like,
it goes well together, huh?
name. And then I clicked on him and all his photos were so beautiful and just professional and clean. And I was like, oh, he has a really good aesthetic. And I was like, okay, well, I'm like, he's like the surfer boy. I'm like from Canada. I'm like, oh, he seems cool. So I literally just followed him back. And then I was actually contemplating like DMing him because I'm like, he's kind of cute. And then my girlfriends were like, no, just wait for him to DM you. He'll DM you. I was like, okay, yeah, true. So I didn't. And then he DM'd me like the next day.
Yeah.
And then,
that's what's crazy because like from my experiences with social media and dating through social, like I always tell people like Instagram is the greatest dating app of all time. You have Bumble and Tinder and Hinge and all these dating apps. Nothing's better than social media because that's the original dating app. That's around for 10 years. And and so many people who have found their significant other through social media. And so like for me, the whole thing was just like, I wanted to reach out. I wanted to be genuine, but I also know that she gets tons of DMs and stuff. And it's really rare if you talk to other people for someone to follow you back really quick. And the fact that she was thinking about DMing me, like that's super rare. For the girl to think about reaching out to the guy first.
I'm not like typical. Like if I want something, I'll just go after it. Like I don't really care.
And that's part of why you guys create your own work and content too. That drive. 100%. But Slater, that was really cool that you complimented her on something other than her appearance. I think like we should normalize guys like being attracted to more than just physical appearance, right? 100%. So that's super cool of you guys.
Yeah. And like it's hard, obviously I didn't know her, so it's really hard to tell how her personality is, but like honestly in today's world things are so advanced. Like on social media, if you just scroll through someone's account, read some captions, even going in and reading the way they comment back to other people, it honestly gives you a great,
you did some research.
It gives you a good glance at like what type of person they are. You can tell a lot just through someone's account of what type of person they're going to be. And she was a beautiful model, but didn't put off that vibe because there's tons of beautiful models on Instagram. That's what Instagram is. And she just felt different. And like, I just felt something unique. And like for the interesting thing for us was the fact that she was thinking about pursuing me and like so persistent on her end. That's so rare in today's world. It's like girls always just want to be chased and chased and chased. I'm like, for her to push back a little bit and for me to kind of want the chase was like, okay, this girl's rad. And then I found out that her age, because I was like, okay, she's got to be mature. She knows what she wants.
I'm 4 years older than him.
That's okay.
So,
and that's what I thought was amazing. Like I've always dated younger girls, and
I've never dated a younger guy before, so I was like, you know what, I'll just try something new because
and now it works.
Before wasn't working for me, so I'll just try something new.
That's the new thing, Kayla. Like older women dating younger men. I'm telling you, that's the new thing.
I think I think that's totally fine. And I think now with women also just more about their business a little bit. We're not so quick to hurry up and jump into something at a younger age because we have options. Like we have options. So let's hear the engagement story. Who wants to share that? Or actually tell me when you guys first actually met in person.
Okay.
I want to hear the progression.
So in the DMs, he said, let me know the next time you're in LA. I'd love to meet you. And then it just so happened that I was going to be there like a week or two later for like a modeling job.
Wow.
So literally I was like, I'm actually going to be there in like a few weeks. So like, I'd love to meet up. And he's like, oh my God, amazing. And it just like all kind of worked out. And then when I got there, we were like texting at this point and like trying to figure out a day that worked. And then we figured out a day that worked. And then he drove to where I was and we had like a 12-hour date. We like went on a hike.
Drove to where she was. She was in San Diego.
So I was in San Diego.
I had to drive 2.5 hours to go.
I was supposed to be in LA and then my plans changed. I ended up being in San Diego. And normally I would have like made the effort, but I was like at this point in my life, I was like, I am always like the giver. I'm always the one bending backwards for guys. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, getting older, I don't care. I'm like, if he really wants to meet me bad enough, he'll make it work. So I'm with him. I'm like, hey, I'm in San Diego. Like, if you want to drive down here, I'd love to still hang out. And then he's like, okay, yeah. And I was like, awesome. So then he drove down. It like, what's like a 2-hour drive or something?
2.5. It's a mission from LA.
He drove down.
We
went on a hike and then we had lunch together and then we watched the sunset. We went for dinner. It was literally like a 12-hour date. It was crazy.
It was a 12-hour
date. So you guys were vibing day one. You're already on the same wavelength.
Well, you want to tell her? You asked me to be
this is the best part of the whole story.
He asked me to be his girlfriend on the first date.
Slater!
I don't take any prisoners. I was just like, all right. I was like, I'm just gonna kill this one right now.
I was like, taking it back.
End of the day, like we had our first kiss. Everything was so great. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're vibing so hard. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, where do we go from here? I'm like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, might as well be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was like, she's like, oh my God, you're so cute, but like, let's just take it slow. So basically on our first date, I got denied.
But he was persistent. And like when I went back home to Toronto, he was like FaceTiming me and he just like really showed me he was putting in an effort. And I was like, okay, this guy's really committed and like really wants to make this work. And it was like,
but just the right amount.
In a cute way. It wasn't like creepy stalker, like, oh, you're too much. It was like just the right amount.
Like genuine.
Like, yeah, it was like a genuine chase. And I felt like he really was interested in me. And it was like a good feeling to be chased for once.
Yeah.
So it kind of all just trickled from there.
Yeah, I just stayed on it because I basically got denied like in her face
He's a confident
the first night, like, and then I was like, all right, this is great. I was like, you know what? She didn't say no, but there's still a chance. So I just stayed persistent, and then like the last part to the whole kind of beginning of this, which was kind of cool, was that was our first date. She went home to Toronto for a couple weeks, and then my sponsor, Body Glove, was the team manager. Nick hit me up, and they were doing a photo shoot in Cabo, Mexico for their spring 2020 line. And so he was like, hey, we're looking for a model, someone more mixed, maybe more brunette because we have a blonde model, but whatever for this. And so I was like, I know the perfect person. I was like, I just want to date with this girl. She's half Korean. She's beautiful and mixed and like exotic and gorgeous, like just reaming about her. And so he's like, awesome, send us her info. I sent him his info. And then like an hour later, he's like, great, we want to hire her.
And
so,
they like called me,
amazing.
they're like, we'd love to hire you. So like literally a week after our first date, we were like flying to Cabo and like in Mexico together.
Working
just, like,
on a photo shoot together.
Beautiful big home. We had our own little room. Like it was like a vacation. It was really, but it just kind of pretty much became solid after that.
Yeah, we spent that week in Mexico together working and doing a photo shoot together. And then like, that was pretty much it. And then after that, I was supposed to fly back to LA. She's supposed to go home to Toronto. It was her birthday coming up. And so I asked the team manager, Body Glove, I'm like, hey, can we swap my flights? I want to fly back with her to Toronto.
So Body Glove paid for flights to come back to Toronto, meet my whole entire family, all my friends. We had a big birthday party. My birthday's on Halloween, so we had a big costume party.
Nice.
He dressed up. Like it was just so fun. He like fit so well with everyone.
So moral of the story is it just happened really fast.
Yeah.
It sounds like from the beginning it was pretty like magnetic. Like everything was just kind of aligning and falling into place. That's so sweet. I love that story, guys.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the engagement.
All right.
This is all you.
Well, okay. So I kind of had an idea. Like he was being a little bit weird. We were trying to plan a trip to Maui, and at this point, it was super hard to get there because you needed like a negative COVID test and all this stuff. It was like kind of jumping through hoops to get there.
Yeah.
So we had gone and gotten a test, but that wasn't approved by their thing. We had to go get another one. So we were just like trying to get there. And at one point I was just like, maybe we just shouldn't go. Like maybe it's a sign. He was like, no, we're going to Maui. Like he was just so like adamant about it. I was like, okay. And then like, I think you made an appointment for me to get my nails done with his mom. He's like, oh yeah, my mom wants to go get her nails done. Like you can go with her or whatever. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah.
You're like,
Get my nails done. I was like, what color are you going to get? Like asking me like little questions like that. So, but I was kind of just like, oh, like whatever. It's just Slater being Slater. And then we get to Hawaii, and what happened?
So like I knew I wanted to do on Maui, and I told Stacie, let's just go for a vacation because like Hawaii had been closed down for like 8 months. You went there, you had to do quarantine for 14 days, which is obviously ridiculous. No one wants to go to Hawaii and stay inside for 14 days. So October 15th, they opened up, which means you could fly there with a negative COVID test and you're free to roam, have your vacation. So literally on October 15th, I'm like, let's go to Hawaii. She's like, okay, sounds fun. But there were so many hoops to jump through. They made it so hard to get there that at one point she's like, this doesn't feel right. Like it's too much work. It's so expensive. Like she's like, we can go anytime to Hawaii. Like, why do we have to go right now? I'm like, we are going to Hawaii. I don't care if we have to paddle there. Yeah. We're going to make this happen. And then she always had mentioned too.
I made some jokes. I was like, what is this like an engagement? He's like, that's so cheesy. I would propose in Hawaii. You're so around. So then in my head, I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely not like an engagement or anything. Like, I put it in my mind completely. That's why I was so surprised when it actually did happen.
The only thing I really kind of almost ruined it was when because she always told me, she's like, you know, like girls, like when they get engaged, they make sure your nails are done because if your nails are ratchet, you can take engagement photos. Like, I didn't know this. I'm like, I don't like, okay. So then I had that in my mind for like 6 months. And I'm like, all right. So then the week before a while, I was like, hey, my mom has a pedicure, manicure thing going on. If you want to join her. She's like, oh, really? Okay. So she went and did that. And then we finally made it to Hawaii. And I had the spot picked out. She had no idea yet. And then one of my good friends, Talia, this female photographer from North Shore of Maui, amazing content, does weddings and photos and tons of engagement shoots. I hit her up and I was like, hey, this is my plan. I want to go to this spot. And I want to tell Stacie that it's going to be a just couples photo shoot, because we always do shoots together, so it's normal for us. She wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And I said, when we're doing it, I'm just going to drop down on one knee and make it happen. And so Talia was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And so a couple days after we got to Maui, the weather cleared up, and I texted Talia, I was like, today's the day. And so at sunset, we drove out there. I told Stacie, I was like, hey, we're doing this couple shoot. And she's like, what should I wear? And I'm like, something super casual, because if you wear like a dress or something, I don't want it to be too much of an engagement vibe.
He literally was like, I don't want it to seem like it's like an engagement photo shoot. I was like, yeah, true. And then like we were literally shooting and being all cute, and I was like making jokes. I'm like, haha, this seems like such an engagement photo shoot. That I was like, it 100,000,000% is not happening. It didn't even cross my mind that it would be happening. And then he got down on one knee, and even when he was on one knee,
she was laughing. She started laughing like
I thought he was joking. And then he pulled out the box, which was like the super unique, like slender little wooden box. And I also thought he was joking still when he whipped it out, because it didn't look like a normal box.
She thought it was like a memory card box for my camera.
I was like, why are you whipping out your camera, like your memory card or whatever? I had no idea. And then it clicked when he finally opened it and I saw the ring in there. I was like, wait.
You're like, oh shit.
In shock. I was so surprised.
And I was super nervous. I remember just like, it takes a lot to rattle me, but I was definitely rattled.
So nervous. I was like that.
Heart racing, just like, had no idea. And then I got down on one knee and I was like, Stacie, and she was like sitting there like laughing at me for a second. I'm like, this is not good.
She's like, I've been wanting to do this since the first day I met you. I'm like, no, I believe you. Yeah.
It was really funny. And then I opened up the ring. She saw the ring, and like at that point she knew, oh my gosh, this is legit, and like jumped in the air. Remember her? She started doing like jumping jacks and like freaking out. Like,
I think it's more just like you managed to surprise me and shock me. I was like, how? Like it was just incredible.
That sounds so cute.
And
that's
the
great.
ring fit perfectly, which is like
fit perfectly. So
I slipped.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
And it like just like snugly went over her knuckle, and I was like, yes, it's perfect. Snug.
You like a sense of relief just like washed over him. He was like, oh, I can breathe now.
That's sweet. Honestly, it looked gorgeous. I loved it. And I'm glad that you actually got to surprise her. I feel like a lot of times like you kind of know a little, so it's in the back of your head. Exactly. That's great.
She's a Scorpio, so she's like super intuitive.
Me too.
You're a Scorpio?
Yeah. It's the best being a Scorpio, really.
I know, I love it. We're so like emotional.
You guys are crazy, man.
We are
and crazy with balance.
Yeah.
Every guy loves a Scorpio.
Oh my gosh. So you know how it is. She's super intuitive. Like I can't get anything by her at all.
I notice every little thing.
Every little thing. So the fact that this happened, Kayla, is a monumental moment for me.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. It sounds great. It's honestly a beautiful story, guys. And I'm happy you guys met the way you did. All of it sounds so magical.
Yeah.
It honestly is. I look back and I'm like, what was I doing before you? Like I just feel like
it's one of those things you don't really remember your life before the person.
Based on your Instagrams, I feel like you guys both would be like perfect matches. You have to thank your friend for like the rest of your life.
I know, right?
Every time I message him about it, he's like, I'm already preparing my speech for the wedding. He's like, so fired up.
I'm actually so excited to hear his speech. That's gonna be
and he's a very outgoing, funny guy too. So it should get a couple drinks down him, and like it'll be an interesting night.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah,
that's great. Let's talk about. I saw that you guys recently bought a van. So what are your plans for van life? What are you guys thinking?
So many plans.
Yeah. So kind of the slingshot into getting a van and the whole idea behind it was I had a truck for a couple years that I put a camper shell in the back of, and like we would camp and sleep in it and stuff, and it was cool, but it was really tight and crammed, and there's like not much space. You got to get out and walk around. And so I'd always thought about a van, and then my parents actually bought one last spring. Nice. And they just started going out and camping, these epic trips in it. And so Stacie and I'd be like stuck at home because my parents are our next door neighbors actually.
Oh, nice.
And like Stacie and I'd be at home for the weekend, like, what are we gonna do this week? And my parents would be like loading up the mountain bikes,
so cool.
the dogs.
They're so
like,
adventurous.
We're going up into the Rockies to camp, and we're like, We're so
I'm
boring.
like, I don't know any 60-year-old parents like getting a van and like driving it around and doing cool trips.
Yeah,
but
so
they're
after like a
That's the way
couple
to
weeks,
live.
my dad's like texting me, epic van camping trip. You should get one. So finally, I was like, all right, screw this. We're getting a van. So I sold my truck, and we found one near Sacramento, actually,
Nice.
and bought it in late September. And then we have it being built out by a company called Ross Monster Vans in Colorado. So when we bought it, Kayla, it was literally a tin can. We called it a tin can for a
Oh, was
while.
it all stripped and
Shell.
stuff? It was
Yeah.
just nothing in there?
brand new shell.
Literally
Nice.
like just sheet metal walls and
Yeah.
just a shell. And so,
But we had an idea of kind of how we wanted the layout. Like we did a lot of research online, looking for different van builds who did like different designs that we liked. We had a hard time finding ones that we liked until we found Ross Monster in Colorado. We just like really liked the simplicity of their layout and wasn't like over the top. It was just very simple and practical and really like good looking. So
yeah, that was like the hardest part. I'd say was there was just, you can do so many different things with a tin can.
Overwhelming.
There's a lot of options now.
There's so many options the way to build it. So we were kind of stressing for like a month, like researching hundreds of different builds and builders all over the country. And we found Ross Monster, and they had a really unique layout with a nice, it's got like a kitchen cooktop, a sink. It's got a queen size bed. It's got storage in the rear, like garage style storage. It's got an extra bench seat in the back for passengers that also folds into a mini bed for like a dog or kids. And so it's just like a super nice, warm, cozy, homey kind of floor plan feel. And it's got like a super modern touch. Like we just got photos of it. I don't know if you saw the Romy account.
I have to look. No, I don't think
you'll have to check it out. We just got some updated photos. It's not done yet, a couple more weeks, but it literally, we were like looking at each other.
It's so nice.
It's nicer than any home we've ever lived in.
It's like just the lighting and like the black leather. It's just like the wood floors. It just looks amazing.
Where are the photos? On your Instagram?
Yeah, so we created
an
account. Stacie came up with the name. You want to tell a little bit about that?
We called it Romy. It's a
Romy.
I was just trying to think of like adventure names, like wandering and like roaming, and I was like Romy. I mean, that's like a name.
Romy's cute. I like it.
Yeah, she's our little baby.
Yeah, Romy the Van. So at Romy the Van on Instagram. We just started the account, and it's kind of just where we'll be posting all of our updates. And so right now, if you go to it, it's just pretty much all just everyday building steps, like installed cabinets, blah blah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the boring nitty gritty stuff, but eventually we're gonna get into obviously like documenting trips that we go on, how we do things in van life and everything like that. And we're starting a vlog too, so
you guys should
footage that we need to edit that we just like haven't tackled yet. But we're like, the vlog's coming soon.
We've been filming for the vlog for like 3 months and haven't posted anything.
I'm scared to look at all the footage because it's gonna take so long to go through and edit.
Where will it be posted? On YouTube? Or are you guys thinking live?
Slater and Stacie, and it's just going to be based around our life. So our van, camping, traveling, fitness, health, wellness, just kind of our everyday lifestyle. Like we plan on doing one video a week. So hopefully like every Monday we can release a video.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. I would just I'm not sure if you follow Bev, you probably do.
Yeah.
But they were just posting and did like a featured thing with another guest. I'm mumbling right now, but this lady made a reality show, a dating reality show on IG Live. And I'm like, that's genius. Like, why didn't I think about that?
That is smart.
I saw something about that. I didn't look into it. I saw them.
How does that work?
No.
She posts live. It's like a dating, so she'll go on dates with different guys on IG Live. So you know how you could do like the double screen and like one person's on top and literally just live dating, which obviously you guys wouldn't have a dating show, but it would be cool to have your vlog on IG Live as well, since it's not going anywhere.
Sure. I think we're going to start with YouTube, and then
that's really cool.
We want to start putting this stuff on IGTV and live and stuff.
I want to start doing more lives because that's something that I don't do too often, but I think that'd be cool for us to start doing that once we're like doing some adventures.
Sure.
Do you guys ever get nervous with having, so both of you guys have pretty large followings, and we're going to get into that too, but do you ever get nervous like posting videos or like just shy? I feel like I have not as much followers as you guys, and I get so shy on camera, and it's like what I do.
I definitely feel like I get kind of awkward sometimes because I'm like, oh, people are judging me and like whatever, and like I'm just so particular with what I say and how I say it, and I'm like, but I've started to kind of get a little bit better. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Let me just.
It's okay.
Technical interruption.
From Hawaii. It's clearly a scam. Anyways, but I've kind of just started to like not care as much. I have a really good friend in my life, and she's like a social media queen. She's so good at talking on videos. She's always doing lives. She's always doing like everything, and she's so confident. And so I always talk with her about it, and she's like, honestly, like you just have to stop like caring. Like just if you want to say something, just say it and like be yourself, and don't always like overthink, because I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
I'm constantly overthinking, and that's like
Me too.
the main thing that kind of like holds me back, I think, from just being authentic and just being genuine and just confident. So I've been really working on that. I've definitely gotten a little bit more comfortable talking on video, but I think it's something that with more practice we'll get more comfortable too.
Yeah, I think there's like just so much pressure on people in general now, and cancel culture is such a like another scary thing to think about.
Really?
Like, you know,
Say
you really
one
do
wrong
have to be
thing, you're
conscious
done.
about what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like one word that you didn't mean to say that way can get twisted, and you're like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. So it's just like everyone's just walking on eggshells with like how they say things and what they're saying. So it's
that's why I think it's badass. Like, you know, like Stacie's been more outspoken, like obviously you starting your podcast, like you guys are putting yourself out there, and that's super risky. So I mean, I think that's super respectful for people who are willing to put their voice online, because like you mentioned, Kayla, like cancel culture now, and like the way we're living in this world today, it's like you mess up one little word with a stutter and you're done. So it's like you just have to be super careful. So I have a lot of respect for people who can just speak their voice, not care about what the haters think or say.
Slater's pretty confident though. Like he can literally turn it on like that. He'll like turn the camera. And I'm just like, you're so good. And then he'll come in the room and I'm trying to do a video and he like makes fun of me. And then I get more self-conscious. I'm like, stop it.
Anytime I walk in the room, she just like stops. I'm like, there's one person.
I tell him, I'm like, if I'm filming a video, you have to leave the room because I don't want to be here.
I
feel like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was saying when she's filming or talking to the camera, I can't be on the property.
I feel like there's a pressure probably physically as well. How do you guys deal with the physical pressures of, you know, maintaining either your self-image or maintaining your social media following, and physically, what kind of struggles do you deal with? And Slater, I'm interested to hear, I know women deal with it a little more frequently and people kind of think of women as always having an issue publicly, but I wonder, like, how do you feel about it, Slater? Like, I mean, just putting yourself out there.
For sure. I mean, I think it's like obvious that women are definitely more outspoken about being self-conscious or self-conscious. This is why she's here for me. You know, with their image and stuff. And I think you're right. Like men are much more kind of, you know, closed off with that stuff and their emotions and like how they feel and being self-conscious. Like for me, so like what I've noticed personally, I can only speak on what I feel is like, I've been a professional athlete for the last 12, 13 years. And so my life was just training and fitness. And so my physical image was always really great. And I always feel super confident because all I did was work out all day. So, you know, I was super confident to take my shirt off or post shirtless photos on Instagram. I didn't even think about that stuff. And then I retired from professional paddling in 2018 to full-time be an influencer, content creator, work with brands. And so obviously my fitness and everything kind of was pushed to the wayside a little bit. Still training and stuff like that. But I noticed this last year with us moving from LA to Idaho, remodeling our place here, my focuses were in other places. And so the last few months, I, for the first time in my life, started noticing differences in my physical appearance in my body, just like softening up in areas and not as toned or cut and stuff like that. And that was my first like experience, like being like, whoa, I don't really feel like I look as like cut or lean or jacked. And I was a little more like hesitant to post stuff like that. And that was my first experience with like body image and like feeling weird about it. And so Stacie and I, now that we've kind of finished other things, this last month, starting November, we've really like started grinding again in the gym.
We're on a good routine.
It's
hard to be in a good routine when you're just like all over the place doing different things. So we've kind of settled in and created a good routine for ourselves, and I think we're
on a good path. We're on a good path now, and like come the new year, like I'm just gonna be the most jacked I've ever been. And I'm like just so fired up right now. But yeah, like I've never dealt with that until this year.
I think part of it was like mentally too. Like you weren't feeling good about yourself because we weren't working out as much. Like
Yeah.
strong mental aspect to that too. Like he's such like a typical athlete. Like he pushes himself really hard when he is training. And I think not having that in his life was like, he felt like he had nowhere for that energy to go. And so he was just kind of feeling like a little bit down, a little bit kind of like lazy.
For sure.
And I think that played a huge role for sure. But yeah.
No, but it's true though, like maintaining your physical image and the way you look and present yourself on social media is it's such a big deal, because that's, you know, we really get brand deals and partnerships, and she's a model. Her life is based around her physical image.
Yeah.
That's how she makes her living.
But I do think that like Instagram and like modeling on like social media and stuff has definitely transformed. Like, you know, obviously back in the day, models had to be 6 foot and super skinny, and it's so broad now, like anyone can really do it. There's so many.
That's the beauty of social media and modeling. Like now you can model for brands and stuff based on your social media, which is giving access to so many other people.
I almost feel like more confident now more than ever, like doing this through social media, whereas like I have modeling agencies as well, but there was always like a self-conscious element because I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'5". So there was always like, oh, like this brand wants to work with you, but you're a little too short. It was like always my pain point was like, I'm too short. And now I'm just like, no one cares about that. And so kind of like, I feel a little bit, I have like freedom now, and it's a little bit more, I don't know. It's more positive for me because I'm just comfortable sharing like, okay, this is my body. And like, I don't lie about anything or like pretend I'm taller than I am. It's just, this is what I look like. And if brands want to work with me, they want to work with me. So
that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad you found that. Like that I don't care. Like I'm me and this is who it is, who I am. And this is what I have to offer.
I think so many people online have kind of discovered this sense of like freedom. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah. That's like, there's the both sides of the sword, right? We have the cancel culture, which kind of is like bummy, but then we have also this side where it's radically accepting of differences, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And so I want to get deeper into how you both have made content creating a lifestyle and really a business for each of you. And how did that like start? How did you guys kind of navigate that space?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I was a professional stand-up paddle racer for so many years and traveling the world to beautiful places for these competitions. And then at a young age, I started kind of carrying a camera around and posting about where I was and what I was doing. And naturally people just were gravitated towards that and thought it was really cool. And so for like 10 years, I was just kind of traveling. I'd go do my event. And then after the event, I'd extend my trip for a couple of days and just go explore and shoot content. And then towards the end of my career, I started getting hit up by brands that were like, hey, we want to work with you. We want you to do some influencer stuff. And I'm like, what? I'm a pro athlete. I don't do these like one-off partnership influencer things. And then that started happening. I started getting more jobs with them. And then like my last year or two in my career, my professional sports, I was making more off of social media partnerships full-time than I was as a pro athlete at the point.
Nice.
And so I'm like, hey, if I don't have to go damage my body, travel the world, train 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, and I can go stay in overwater bungalows and take pictures, you know, sipping on orange juice by the water, like, heck yeah, I'm going to do that. So that's when I called it quits after 12 years with the paddle racing full time and just jumped into that. And I just built a following naturally through sharing my experiences. And everyone's always asking, how did you get to where you are? How'd you do this? And I started on Instagram the year it started. Like none of us were given anything. I wasn't given anything. Stacie was like, I grinded as a pro athlete for 12 years and that's how I got what I have. Yeah. And people don't really realize that. They think that you just are a trust fund or someone gives you a bunch of money, you go travel, take cool photos, you build a following. Like I
definitely want to talk about that too. The struggles of that. Cause a lot of people think it's just like travel and fun and there's no actual work, but it's a lot of work to create content and to pump it out as frequently as you have to.
And to have boundaries between personal life and work too.
Yeah.
That's a struggle too that we can talk about. But for me, like I always thought I would just do kind of the regular route. Like I went to university, I got a degree in psychology.
Nice.
And then I did a post-grad in art therapy. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I really want to help people.
That's cool.
But then on the side, it's like I was always living a double life. On the side, I was like modeling and I was kind of growing my social media at that time, and brands were reaching out and like sending me on free trips and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Cause it's like, I'm getting my education, but I'm also able to do all these fun things. But I always kind of felt like it was like, I was living a double life. I'm like, okay, like what do I want to focus my energy on? Like, do I want to do this career full time and work, you know, and be in one place? Or do I want the freedom to travel and meet new people and get different job opportunities? And so my heart was kind of more in that at the time. So I kind of just kept growing my following. I started partnering with brands, more full-time contracts. And it kind of just took over and became so lucrative for me to be doing that I just was like, I love doing this. It's fun. And I'm making money doing it. So it kind of just took over. And then it kind of just became my full-time
And she's also
thing.
super hot. So getting followers, a 10.
I honestly don't even know how my following grew. I think I just started posting. I would do like shoots all the time. Like I was always pretty active. Like I would hit up photographers. And
yeah, you did a lot of stuff with
like,
photographers.
I would constantly be trying to build my portfolio, and that was like fully on me. Like my agencies like maybe set up a few, but I was pretty like grind mode. Like I was like, I just want to like shoot with cool photographers who have a big following and who have like a good reputation. And then they would repost me, and then people would be like, oh my God, I want to follow. Like that's how it kind of worked back in the day. If you shot with like a cool photographer, everyone would just follow you if they posted you. So I was just like constantly grinding and doing that. And I think that's how organically I grew. And
that brings it to a good point, Kayla. I think what you wanted to get to is how can other people grow their followings and do this? How can you grow your following? How can he or she, whatever? I think that what Stacie touched on is just linking up with people and doing collabs. Like find people you like, shoot them a DM, find people in your community that are badass, that are doing really cool stuff, have great initiatives, cool photographers, charity work, whatever it is, and reach out to people. Don't be nervous. Send them a DM and say, hey, would love to shoot with you, would love to create some content, would love to have you on my podcast, blah, blah, blah. Like what you're doing,
it's
reaching
stuff
out to
that
cool
you're
people.
like not necessarily comfortable with. Like a lot of the times these feelings bring up like discomfort and kind of like a weird feeling because you're not used to stepping out of your comfort zone. It's like I would reach out to a photographer and like want to shoot, and they'd be like, yeah, and then the date would come and they'd be like, okay, let's meet, and I'd be like all nervous. I'm like, and then I did. I'm like, oh my God, this was so fun. I met a new friend, and now I met all these other people through this person, and it's just so cool that like networking, how many people you can meet through just one person, and like where it can bring you, and how many.
And that's really the point of social media. I think like a lot of us, obviously, we're staying connected to friends and family. But it's a space to collaborate and to create with other people. And honestly, I just recorded another episode where we were talking about how social media can either use you or you can use it as a tool. And that's definitely the number one way to make it a tool is by collaborating and reaching out to other people.
And that's our biggest advice for people that want to grow their social media is just find the cool accounts you want and go out, collaborate, reach out to people. And just create fun content and go have fun, and all of a sudden, be authentic. Do what you really want to do, because copying is the greatest form of flattery. But at the end of the day, you're never going to be that person. You're always going to be yourself. So
people can read through that. I think like being disingenuous nowadays, like people can see through the bull. Like they're if you're talking about something that you're passionate about, I think like if you're being authentic, that'll come through. But people can tell when people are just doing things to try and sell you or try.
I agree. I think authenticity, I said it before too, it's like very magnetic. Like you just like, and you two were attracted to each of your own authenticity. And that's what attracted you to this like beautiful relationship. But people can see through it, even through a screen, you can feel the energy. And the only gift that we really all definitely have is being ourselves. So if we could share ourselves more often, then more power to you. And if you can create work based on sharing yourself, that's like your greatest.
There's only one of you in the world, and there's never going to be another one. So that's pretty special out of 8 billion people.
But I'm still my own person.
How do you guys remain disciplined in creating content and kind of creating a work schedule so that you're not totally consumed by it?
That's a good question.
Usually I try and set days where it's like, okay, today is shooting day. We're just going to get like all the brand stuff that we have to do. Let's just bang it out today. The weather's looking good. Let's just plan for that. And then other days I'll be like, okay, we'll just like do emails. We'll like message brands. We'll do other work online, like revamp our Instagram. So we kind of set days where we do certain things instead of just trying to like cram them all together or like do all day. Like we usually like to have boundaries.
We have our inside days and our outside days.
Yeah.
And they're both equally important. And we plan it, like Stacie said. Like she'll say, hey, Slater, like I have these certain items to shoot for these brands this week. Wednesday, weather's looking good. Let's plan Wednesday. So then I'm like, okay, Wednesday is an outside day. We're going to shoot content. We're going to get creative. We'll start planning. And then Thursday rolls around. The weather's kind of crappy. And it's an inside day for us, which is we're emailing brands. We're getting contracts signed. We're working on stuff. We're planning, getting creative with content. Filming stuff, shooting stuff, staying active. But there's definitely times, like 100%, where we just get in ruts for a couple days, a week, a couple weeks, where we're just like, we're just so burnt out.
I don't really feel like doing anything. Like I don't even want to open Instagram because like it's so weird. The relationship with Instagram isn't just like, oh, I'm just gonna scroll through and see what my friends are doing. It's like work. So opening it up is like opening up the office almost. And it's like you open it up and it's like if you haven't been active or doing anything, you start to feel guilty and you're like, I don't even want to open it because there's all these things I need to do and I'm just putting it off. Sometimes you can procrastinate and it's hard to have those boundaries because sometimes you do just want to go on and scroll and just see what people are doing and watch stories and reels and laugh and whatever. But it also puts you in a place of kind of guilt because you're like, all these people are creating right now and I'm just sitting here watching their videos and I'm not doing anything. So finding a balance between that has been a little bit tough, but I think we're starting to kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and I think there's beauty though in that. And I think we're all human. At the end of the day, you can't be just a content creative, just hammering human being 24/7. Like I think there's beauty in the times where you're feeling burnt out and you're not feeling creative and you're having a hard time creating new content and better content because those times you might not realize it, but you're working on other things that you need to heal. And so when you come out of those times where you're catching up on old stuff or figuring out things, you can come out of that and go on like a 2 or 3 month streak where you're just hammering out awesome creative content and traveling and doing stuff. So I think everyone in this industry feels the same way. I think people go through ruts and you'll see it on Instagram. You'll see someone you follow for a few months posting bangers and then you won't see them post anything for 2 months. Like, what is that person doing?
But I think that's cool because also, like, for me, I value, like, present moment. Like, when I'm in a moment that I'm enjoying, I don't want to just be on my phone whipping it out. Like, I don't know. We've been going to the gym, like, 6 days a week, and we haven't filmed ourselves working out at all. And I just realized, like, we haven't really today. He got a few videos of me working out, but I was like, that's really cool because the last few weeks we've just been grinding at the gym and we've just been grinding so hard. We didn't even think to whip out our phone and film it. So sometimes you need that little break of like just being in reality and being in the moment.
And one thing that I do is kind of like a fun little tip for people out there that if they want to try it, to kind of, like Stacie said, stay more present in the moment because it's so easy just to be like in your phone 24/7 is we'll go and, let's just say we have a week and that week we, go and do a hike, we work out, we make food, we blah, blah, do all this great content all week long. And I'm just capturing it as we go, Monday through Sunday. And then on Sunday night, I'll sit down for like 2 hours and just post an entire week of those stories. So rather than, and I do that because if you're just snapping content all day on your phone and then putting it up right away, like very few people just film and post. Like you got to look at it, put a filter on it, add your text, go over it, blah, blah. So before you know it, 15 minutes goes by of you and your phone in the moment. And then you do another one.
And you miss out on the beautiful scenery.
You miss out on stuff. So I'm a big proponent of not posting in the moment, but curating a story all week and taking your Sunday evening to lay on the couch and just curate a story and put it out. And then the safety part of that whole thing is like, if you're not posting in the moment, hey, I'm at this gym right now working out.
Right. People can't find you.
People don't know where you are.
Safety.
I think for women especially, that's a really important thing is I can't stress enough to don't geotag and post live exactly where you are because if you have a big following, there's some creepy people out there. So
gotta be careful.
I want to go back to how what are some tips for reaching out to brands, reaching out to collaborate? What are some tips or ways that you guys find make those things possible for you?
For us, we're very much like we will only reach out to a brand if we're super like actually excited about the brand and passionate about it, and genuinely like the product or whatever it may be. Like there's been a few times when we've gone to the grocery store and we've tried a new product and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, how have I never heard of this? And then he's like, why don't you hit them up on Instagram? And I'll just be like, hey, like, I love this. Like, I'd love to work something out with you guys. Like, we're like genuine customers of the product. And then they'll be so stoked. They're like, oh my God, so glad you guys like it. Like, I'd love to chat. And then we kind of just start an email from there. So I think it does come from being authentic and just genuinely liking the product instead of just reaching out to a million people and hoping one of them says yes. I think like less is more. It's, you know, quality over quantity. We're always just being very particular about brands that we do reach out to. A lot of the time it's just, making sure our values align with the company that we're reaching out to. I think that's an important one because that's going to build a longer relationship over time that's more genuine rather than like a one-off, like, oh, you don't even look like you like this product, but we're paying you, so you're going to do it. We're not really like about that.
Yeah. And I think that keeps, I think that keeps also the genuinity in your following too, right? Like your followers can trust you because they know that you're not going to pick up a brand that is not really valuable to them.
Definitely. And it's important to build that trust if you do want quality followers. So
definitely.
And I think too, speaking to like the general public about it, like you don't have to have 100,000 followers to reach out to brands to get. We have friends who have 2,000-3,000 followers, whatever it is.
Micro influencers.
That go out and they get great business deals and stuff like that. And so like that's what I like want to stress to people is like you don't need 100,000 followers to go do this stuff. And when you reach out to brands like Stacie said that you're authentic about, you're really passionate about, and just get the conversation started, because what's the worst that can happen? They'll say no. Great. Thank you for your time and move on to another brand. It's not the end of the world, but you never know until you reach out. So, you know, just sitting there saying, oh, I'm not going to start doing collaborations so I hit 20K or whatever. That's not the right mindset to have in this business. You have to start reaching out,
putting yourself out there. Know that the content that you're creating is quality content, regardless of if you have 20,000 or 2,000.
Quality over quantity. And if the brand is smart enough and they have availability, they will look at your quality of content, what you're doing, and they'd be happy to work with you. And you can't ask for the world up front, right? So you go out and just say, hey, let's do this for now and let's build the relationship. And then maybe 6 months goes by and you're collabing with them, they love it, and now they're going to offer you some money. And then next year they offer you more money. And so it's all about getting your foot in the door and building the relationship.
Yeah. I would like to talk about any tips for photography. Both of you guys are awesome photographers and lucky to have each other too, because now you have someone shooting you.
Everything from him, honestly. Like I'm always used to kind of being in front of the camera. And photographers would usually just like send me their edits and I would post them. But more now, like since
I've been teaching her more the technical aspect of it, but she's had the eye forever. Yeah. And that's the most important thing I tell people about photography is I just commented, my buddy Forrest Mankins, he's an amazing photographer from Montana. This reminded me like a couple of days ago, I commented on one of his posts. He went to Alaska in 2014 and by himself, just kind of on this like find me trip. And he's like a struggling musician, brought his iPhone from 2014, shot these amazing photos of Alaska for 2 weeks, and then just posted them today and said, hey, I just found those old photos. They're better than most professional photographers I see on Instagram. And so I commented, I was like, hey, this is a great example, everyone, that it's not about the $5,000 or $10,000 camera setup. The best camera you own is the one in your pocket. And if you have the vision and the creativity, the camera in your pocket, oh my gosh, these new iPhones are more than capable.
Yeah.
We're like a couple years away from these things taking over good cameras. So it's not the equipment, it's the eye. And like Stacie's always had the eye and great editing and her vision. I've just taught her about ISO, exposure, aperture, like, you know what I mean? The technical side of it so she can use my camera.
I do really enjoy like the satisfaction of taking a photo and being like, oh, this is so good.
This is a good one, yeah.
The editing process I really enjoy too. Like I find that really fun, being able to curate and make it your own, like put your own colors and your own flair to it. Like for me, I never did that back in the day when I was just mostly modeling. Like photographers would just send me their edits and then sometimes I would love them and sometimes I was like, oh, I don't really like the way the coloring looks on my skin and I don't really you know what, like I'm just gonna teach myself how to edit and do it in a way that I like the tones and I like the way it makes me look in the photo. It's flattering. So I just kind of taught myself doing it over and over, practice. And then I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I like the way I started editing now. And I've kind of just made that style my own. So,
and that's something too about photography is like the two most important things in my mind. For other photographers will have different advice on this, but for me personally, it's great lighting and great editing skills. And those go together in harmony, because you can have really horrible lighting but absolutely save the photo with a great edit.
Mhm.
You can have amazing lighting and absolutely butcher the photo with a horrible edit.
It's true.
So you have to be a great editor, but you also have to understand great lighting as well, because there's photographers out there who are just savage editors or amazing editors, but don't really shoot great lighting. They kind of shoot weird times. I'm like, what are you doing? But they have great editing. There's other photographers out there who have great lighting, shoot natural stuff, but they butcher their edits in Lightroom when they're done. So you have to kind of understand both. And like something that Stacie's really good at too is like for herself is editing the photos. Like, you know, her and I can go and save a pretty bad photo in Lightroom with just touching up colors, contrast, exposure, just simple stuff. So photography nowadays comes hand in hand. It's not the 70s anymore. We're developing film and just hoping for the best. You really have to understand the post process.
Yeah.
What are you guys using? I think you mentioned, so you're using Lightroom as you edit?
Yeah. Adobe Lightroom. All the Adobe applications are amazing. Premiere for video, Adobe Lightroom for photos.
I just got the new iPad Pro with like the pencil, so I've just been editing on there, and it's fun. I love it. It's just
I've been dying for one of those just to like make graphics and stuff.
Honestly,
put it on the Christmas list.
It's so great. I love it. I want to get some apps where I can like draw and stuff, because I'm like an artist. I like doing like drawings and like painting, so I really want to get some apps to put on there.
Cool. That sounds awesome. Yeah, let's talk.
Stuff. Oh, sorry. Just last thing on the editing too for people listening.
He's passionate.
It has gotten so much easier now to edit. Like, don't be freaked out. Like Lightroom mobile on your phone now.
Oh, so easy.
They make it so user friendly. And honestly, if you're freaked out, go on YouTube, look up a Lightroom mobile tutorial. They're 5 minutes long, and you're off and running. And then you can start creating your own style.
You can learn anything.
That's good advice.
Fun fact.
Yep. Yeah, I was saying in a previous episode if you have information to share, to start a YouTube or a podcast. Sure. But oh no, I forgot what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask, what are some current projects you guys are working on, if anything? If not, I know you guys are also chilling in the mountains.
We recently actually just signed a contract with a brand. They're a natural deodorant company, which we're super passionate about. So kind of a long story of how we started connecting with them. Actually, I think it was last Christmas.
Yeah, last Christmas.
So Slater, he's like all about natural products, like using natural things. We're both plant-based. He's a pretty healthy guy. But he, when I met him, didn't wear deodorant. And I was like, okay. I'm like, you're a big man who sweats, and when you're exercising and stuff, I'm like,
basically, I had a really bad BO. She's being nice about it.
Yeah, he's saying. And I was like, babe, we got to get you like a deodorant. He's like, I've tried all the natural ones. They don't work. And I won't use like the other chemical ones or whatever.
Nothing works for me.
And I was like, Slater, there's got to be something on the market that's natural. Like, you just haven't done enough research. So then Christmas was rolling around. I was like, okay, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to find him like a really good natural deodorant that works for my sake.
Yeah.
And then I think it was just like on YouTube one day, and like one of the ad videos came up, and I usually obviously skip that. But it like caught my attention because it was a natural deodorant ad. And I was like, oh, like, let's see what this is all about. And it was a Canadian and Australian based company. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, because I was still in Canada at the time. Like, I'd love to support like a Canadian business. And they seemed like a pretty small business. And then I went to their website, and they were like these cute little tin cans of deodorant. It's called No Pong. And
No Pong?
No Pong. Yeah. And so
Pong.
So basically, Pong, I guess in Australian, is a word for like a strong, pungent smell. So no
Pong is how you would describe someone's BO, like in Australia.
Yeah, okay.
So I was like doing research, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a cute little company, and like I liked that they were eco-friendly. They were in tin cans, no plastic, and he's all about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, they're only like $10 or something. And I was like, okay, like they're affordable. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna order them, put it in a stocking stuffer, and see what happens. So I ordered like a few tins and put it in your stocking, and then the first time he used it, he like didn't smell anymore ever.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle.
It was amazing. His parents are like, it's all they use now. Like, a bunch of our friends have bought it because it's literally like the only thing that works for a big grown.
I gotta look it up too. I need to know. I'm using natural. It's not working.
The cool thing about them is they come in like a little round tin, and you pop the top off, and it's like a thick little paste, and you take like a pea-sized scoop with your finger, and you just rub it in your armpit, applicate it. It's not greasy. It's not slippery. It's like a powdery.
It's like a paste that is kind of like
It's like a
I don't
super
even know.
grainy, powdery, dry paste, and
It's very clean and easy to apply. And anyway, so we were buying their products. We were just like regular customers. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I would love to represent this brand because I believe in the product so much and I love what they're doing. And they're a small, you know, Canadian and Australian based business. They don't even have anything in the States. So I was like, this needs to expand and grow because this company is legit. So I reached out to them, and then I had been in contact, like we've been emailing back and forth, and then they would like send us some product just as a gift. And we would post on our stories just to be like, hey, we're not actually like getting paid by this company, but we just love this product so much. And we kind of built up the relationship that way, and to a point where we were just like,
we need to make this thing official.
We want to work with you guys. Like, this is legit. So we just hopped on a call with them a few weeks ago, and we just worked out an agreement. So we're going to start working with them. So we're super excited just to kind of like get the word out in the States, because they just launched in the States a few weeks ago. So they're like, we need some people to like start pushing it here. And we're just like, of course, we would do that anyways if we were you, because like this product is just that good.
Good for you guys.
It just goes back to like us being genuine about what we are sharing with our followers. Regardless if we even continue to work with them or not, we would still be using the product. So
and it's great. So we have a great partnership lined up with them for this year coming up, and we're just going to promote their product in the US, do a bunch of content for them, really try to spread the word here because it's a super amazing product. And that just goes back to the beginning of our conversation. Like, we were super passionate about the brand, and we told them on the call, like Stacie mentioned, like, whether or not you guys want to make this official and sponsor us or not, we're still going to buy your products for the rest of our life, full price, just because we love them so much. And so when you come from a place of such a genuine place from your heart like that, it makes it so much more organic and easy.
It's more of like a partnership, less of a like, we're hiring you and paying you.
A work kind of thing.
We also work together and grow this brand because it is an incredible brand and more people need to know about it. So that's one of our big ones. And then we've got a few other brands.
Personal stuff. Like Stacie's got some jobs lined up with some brands. I have a few brands coming up. I got another partnership coming up with Lucchese Cowboy Boots, which is based out of Texas. So I'm be doing a cowboy shoot.
Me up too, so I'm working with them now.
Stacie's got a cowboy boot shoot coming up, which is awesome. Lucchese's been amazing. They're based in Texas.
Great.
They've been around since like, don't quote me on this, like 1890 or something.
The quality of their boots is unbeatable. Honestly. Like, I've never owned a nice pair of leather boots in my life, and I've always wanted a real pair of cowboy boots. And then when I had the opportunity to work with them, I was just so excited. I was like, I get cowboy boots.
Sweet,
so they've been a return client, which has been great for us because we've created some fun content for them. And so little personal stuff like that. And then for me, Body Glove, still working with them. It's been my third full year contract come up with them. So
sponsor here.
I got to get this on the Kayla podcast. So just like personal projects like that. And then of course, like the van stuff, we're going to be heavily pushing van life.
I can't wait to see that.
So we got a lot
Hopefully the van life stuff will open up a lot of opportunities for different brand partnerships too.
I'm sure it will. It will. Man, thank you guys. I have one last question, and then I'm gonna let you guys get to your life. But I wanted to ask. Oh no, I lost it. Well, actually, I have another question that popped up though. So how do you negotiate with brands? Are you guys like actively negotiating? Are you at a place like where you're doing that? Or is it something where they send you a contract, you kind of just agree?
No, we're pretty heavy negotiators. He's notorious. Like he's great though. So for me, like I've learned a lot from him. I've always been a negotiator, but sometimes I get like, okay, I'll just accept. And he's like, no, like, put your foot down, like know what your worth is. And he has no problem telling a brand, hey, listen, these are my rates. And if you can't afford them, then sorry, that's not going to work with me. He also like is so savage when companies mess with him and they're like, we'd like post for product. He's like, sorry, I don't do post for products because unfortunately products don't pay the bills. And just like you, I don't work for free. And like, he's just savage, but I love it because he honestly would be so good at managing like social media accounts and like people's accounts and stuff because he's a good business
I just
person.
learned a lot of it all stemmed from being a pro athlete in paddleboarding. I did have a manager for about 2.5 years when I was younger. And he kind of taught me a little bit about, getting jobs and getting brands to work with you and stuff in the negotiation process. But we kind of things fell out with him. And then really it was just my parents and my dad was super successful in his career with real estate and flipping homes and stuff like that. So he's really great at reading through contracts and looking at stuff. So growing up,
Nice.
he helped me with that. When a brand wanted to sponsor me as an athlete, he'd read through it, make sure it was good. So I learned a lot from my dad. And then when social media started coming, I just managed myself and started reaching out to brands. And, I knew what my worth was, and I was pretty firm with that. And of course, a lot of time you get a lot of no's or
Just gotta start high.
no reply
Yeah.
back. But if those brands are willing to, meet you where your worth is, it's not worth, working with them. And so one thing I see a lot in the industry, and I have tons of friends in the influencer industry for the last 10 years, is so many people are just undermining their worth. And
Yeah.
I know these accounts that have millions of followers who are making this for a post when they should be.
But it affects the rest of
It affects everyone.
industry
So that's
It
why I'm
does.
such an advocate for understand your worth, study your worth, reach out what other people are getting for their jobs.
If you think about it, like back in the day, back before social media existed, companies were paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for marketing and building
ads
and media and commercial. And it's like now they're laughing because they're sending product to people and it's getting marketed for free for the fact that person got that product.
All because
it's crazy.
It's all because of bad self-managing skills in the industry, because now you have this person with 3 million followers who has zero idea about their worth or business, and a brand reaches out and says, hey, how much to post this? They're like $500. And then the brand's like, oh my goodness, okay, great. And then the brand reaches out to someone with 50,000 followers, and that person says, hey, I need $3,000 for this post.
And they're like, we have this person doing it for $500.
Well, last week, the guy with 3 million followers gave us for $500, so no thanks. So it actually hurts the whole industry when people are accepting free product and low rates.
It drives me nuts because the amount of times I've had a brand go, oh, your rates are too high. We actually have this person with this many followers and her rate is this. And I'm like, first off, that's unprofessional to talk about other people's rates.
Yeah, to talk.
But it's just like the whole industry is affected by it because people don't know the value of what they're doing, and we need to revamp and re-educate people.
And that's the thing. It's like if you have, if you get a billboard, or let's say a magazine ad, okay, for instance, because that was big back in the day for marketing. This magazine is shipped to 150,000 people. So 150,000 eyes are going to view your ad, right? So just to pay for that ad in that magazine, the brand has to pay $30,000 to get their ad put in this magazine, right? So now in modern days, if you have 150,000 followers, you're getting 150,000 eyes on the product. Why does the brand only have to pay you $200 for that when they would have paid $30,000 for a magazine ad with a
and they would have had to shoot it themselves and pay the crew and everything.
A free creative director, a free editor,
model,
a free poster, a free marketing person. They're getting everything in you. And so that's where you have to really realize what your worth is. And the great thing about the pandemic with this whole kind of industry was now with these models and photo shoots, that you can't meet up for photo shoots because of social distancing and such. And so you can't have your makeup person, you can't have your lighting person, you can't have your photographer, your model. That model that has to shoot that content has to play all those roles now. She has to do her own makeup. She has to set up her own scene. She has to take her own photos. So when a brand is paying $10,000 for a photographer, $5,000 for a makeup artist, $10,000 for catering, $10,000 for the studio, $5,000 for lighting, and $10,000 for the model, now you're all doing that yourself. You should be paid for all of those jobs. I'm not saying
they have the budget for it.
And I'm not saying you should be paid all those parts, but you should be getting compensated for doing all of those jobs.
Definitely.
So
I think people forget about how much work actually goes into it all.
Totally.
What is some advice that you would give to yourself a year or two ago? As far as working in social media, or just in creating an adventurous, fun life that you guys have created so far? Any advice?
I would say for me, like this year in the last even just couple of weeks, Stacie and I have gone through Instagrams, cleaned them up, kind of gone through and done a remodel. Just simple stuff, new profile picture, different, cleaner bio. I never have had story highlights, and so I created all my own custom Photoshop story highlights with logos and photos and added to those. Just cleaning up the aesthetic and stuff, which it seems like a minor thing, but that's something I've put off for 2 years. I just got a new phone, and I went into my old phone and saw in my notes section from late 2018 things to do. It's like clean Instagram bio, add story. That was 2018. I got to this last week. So I think what I would tell myself a couple years ago is take more pride in your aesthetic, your look, because at the end of the day, this is my job. When you log on and look at my profile, that is what brands are seeing. That's what people are seeing. It's going to grow your following, grow your work. And so I have to really take care of my home, which is my Instagram. That's my place. And so that was for me. I would tell myself, just take advantage of that.
For me, I think I would tell myself just to be more myself and be more genuine and not be so overthought and so meticulous and feel like everything has to be just so in order for me to be able to post it. Like back then, I'd be like, oh my God, no, like you can see like a weird, I don't know, my hair is popping out weird there. I'm not going to post it. That's weird. Like I was so nervous about being judged and about not having this perfect image that I would miss out on sharing who I was and what I was doing because I was so planned out. And so everything had to be just so. Looking back now, I'm just like, you know what? People relate so much more to people when they're more real and just authentic, and just hopping on videos more, being more confident, talking to the camera and just being like, hey guys, like instead of everything having to be so planned out, I think if I just kind of like lived more in the moment and just shared a little bit more authenticity, I think that would have helped me even grow more genuine following too and quicker as well. So I think,
when do you think that shift happened for you, when you kind of turned off the like, or at least lowered it down?
Probably like honestly over the last 6 months, like pretty recently. Like one of my friends, so I started working for a network marketing company as well, so I've been sharing a lot about that on my Instagram, and so that was a big leap for me, was like sharing a product that I'm passionate about, but I didn't want people to think it was coming from like a super salesy perspective, because it genuinely
But
isn't.
that also involves you being more outspoken on the camera.
Exactly. And just talking, hey guys, I started this new business opportunity. And I was like, I was terrified to step out of my comfort zone and just put myself out there like that. And I'm like, what are people gonna think? They're gonna think I'm doing that. I'm like, you know what? And my business partner, one of my best friends, she's like my mentor. She was like, Stacie, just who cares? She's like, just put yourself out there. Like nothing bad is going to happen. Like if anything, okay, cool. You'll get rid of the followers that you don't even want anyways. If they don't want to follow your journey, cool, bye. People who genuinely care about you and are interested are going to stick around. And so she's been a huge role in that, and me coming in out of my shell and just having more confidence, and just kind of being more authentic. So it's been a journey probably just over the last few months even that I've started to really come in my shell. So
I feel like that too, and that it's kind of coming with age. You just kind of start to be like, okay, this is what I have to work with. Like
caring less. I have. People think the older you get, you start caring less.
That's true. Actually, I turned 30 on Halloween, and I was just like, I just don't care anymore. Like I'm just gonna be. And I think that's a beautiful thing too. With age, you kind of become more wise. So
definitely, I agree. I'm just going to check my notes so I don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
But I think we touched on everything.
The sun is setting here and it's starting to glow. We're getting like a nice...
Oh, it looks, this is right. Perfect lighting.
On the faces right now. It's coming through our window.
I think that's all I have for you guys though. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I think we got a lot of gems in that episode.
That was so fun, like reflecting on just basically our entire relationship.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up old memories.
That's